Good evening, everybody. It's a Sunday night, and I have to do one of the videos I don't like doing because it's going to deal with an issue that's real important. And being it's on, and this is not a teaching video, I might try to cover a few, news issues. But this title of this video is going to be Plurk. Are sexual predators running the site? Now let me give you a quick background. I just got off of, I've been emailing them for 4 days now. Gmail has all the records of my emails. Plurk is one of the quirkier sites. They're based in Taiwan. I liked using these sites because most of you that are familiar with us, I'm on a lot of these different sites, and it reaches different parts of the world. I found out I've been researching on Plurk, and I found out it's only like 10% of the people in Japan. Primarily, Taiwan China considers Taiwan part of China, and these last few years, those who are familiar with the news, China has been cracking down on Taiwan. And the U.S. has what's called like a two-state or China policy, and so there's a debate of whether or not Taiwan should be under the control of China. So historically, here's my problem with that site. Whenever I join a new site that's not as big as Twitter or Facebook, I recently joined Gab these last few months, Parler, and a few others, and you can interact with the people that there are the actual executives who started it. I'm on Mastodon, and when you join these sites, you're automatically following by, mandate the different people that are in charge of the site. So Andrew Torber, I found out is a Christian, by the way, and he's the person who started Gab, which I'm on Gab. We have like 2,200 followers. It's a good site. And the same thing with Mastodon, have about 300 followers. But Eugene, I forget his last name, so he's regularly interacting with the people. And that would be like if you're on Twitter and all of a sudden Jack Dorsey is talking to you, or you're on Facebook and you're like interacting with Mark Zuckerberg. So it's interesting, and I like that. But you're mandated, like on most of them, I might have one or two wrong, but as soon as you join these quirkier sites, you'll notice, oh, you're already following, like the person who runs it. Now, here's the problem with Plurk. When I got on Plurk, it's so hard to build that site. To get 350 followers on Plurk, and Plurk is like a tweet. It's called a Plurk. So I just post my teachings. And luckily, I have two, out of all my websites, there are only two that will post into that site. You got to share a link. So I've built it over time, but I noticed I had to adjust my main link to my site because as soon as I got on, there's a guy by the name of Professor Shuto, and I realized as you're checking the site, like every single one of his posts is automatically on my site. And I didn't follow this man, I didn't friend this man. So I realized he might be like one of the people that runs the site. That's what I thought, because you automatically get all of his tweets or all of his Plurks. Well, so he's, I don't know what he's up to. He kind of got a little off on his language, but he seemed to be just a financial man, like finances and, and Bitcoin or whatever. So, and he seems to be, I would assume, like close to 70, if it's a legitimate seeming site. Professor Shuto. All right. So I finally found a way to scroll through the entire homepage. I didn't figure that out until recently. I still post all my teachings and made sure my regular posts went on. So when I got on my homepage, liking things, all of a sudden, Mr. Shuto. See, I feel that he's one of the top executives. Now, what's troubling about that, John? Okay, finally, when this last few days, in the evening, if I'm liking all these posts on Plurk, he put like, vibrators or whatever, and saying things like, and look, there's a lot of young kids on these sites. And then he's posting things like, this might be the only excitement some of you kiddos are going to get, or things right away. If you had Jack Dorsey of Twitter or any of the leaders that you automatically follow when you join them doing that, you'd be shut down. So I Gmailed Plurk, and I said, as soon as I figured out a way to see he's automatically attached to all of your sites. How he did it, because I think I couldn't find ways to unfollow him. When I saw him posting that crap on my site, on the homepage of my 350 friends, of whom are some young people, I got mad. So I just looked at him again, and it says I was a follower of his. I unfollowed, blocked, did everything I could to get rid of this Professor Shuto. So the last time I did it, the next day, they deleted my site. Now, I've been in contact with the Plurk through Gmail to contact, and I explained, I said, you got a problem there. And then I realized they've not answered me back or anything. I said, I'm going to report you guys to the authorities, and you're in Taiwan. And I would ask China, the U.S. can't, I would ask China, you have legitimate reason to go in and check that Taiwanese-based Plurk. Because when they didn't answer any of my emails over the last 3 or 4 days, I thought, I bet that guy, it could be an alias, Professor Shuto, but when he started posting vibrators and all, so I think that site is illegal, meaning they're crossing lines. Now let me just say this as a note. When I'm on all of these sites and people friend me, and I could see a lot of times in the pictures, I always accept, if there are people that are younger people or 30s or whatever, and I know that people are online for different things, as long as it's not illegal activity. I don't talk to any of them, and they'll see my posts, and they know I don't. And if I see something too racy, I just don't like it. And this happens recently on a few of the different sites. They might post something that's, and so no like from me. And then one time I even made one comment because I skipped. It was somebody that followed me, some girl that liked all my posts and all. And then I realized she put something up real bad, and I didn't like it. And I left a comment on the next one that was not bad, racy. I said I could like this one. And I'm not there to preach per se, to tell those people no. So if I see things, and I just blocked somebody the other day because it was an out-and-out porn post. One note, I like Facebook, and it's not Facebook's fault, but I'm on a lot of Christian groups the last month, and so I'll scroll through all my groups, and there's hundreds of Christian groups. And somebody, not from the group, but a hacker, it was an out-and-out still of a porn movie on the Christian group. That happened a few months back, too. I unfriended the group, but I think somebody just... And so what I did was I immediately hit report to group admins, and I don't look at them, and I don't interact. So I just say that to say this. I know online there are people that are doing all types of things, and so I don't report people like, it's something like that, somebody hacked that Christian site and posted an out-and-out porn video. So I hit report to admin. But if I see from any of these other friends, and they're like more racier type profiles and all, look, I'm not there to say report. That one, some girl put a complete open porn thing on on the homepage of everybody that you're friends with. It was on MeWe, and I wished I should have just muted them, but I wanted to get that off quickly, and so I just blocked that person. But I say that to say this. My policy is not to say, oh, they're picking people out. Look, I know what goes on online. So I'm not there to say this and that. I'm there gratefully that people can interact. Plurk, because I think that guy might be in charge, okay? I think that Professor Shuto might be like when you join Gab and these others, and you automatically, that guy's on every side. Okay, I realize he might be. And then when he put stuff up this past week, and then they did not respond, and my site, if you go to my sites, so I would, this one, and I told them in the emails, I said, you respond to me, and if you don't, I'm going to post this. And I was going to wait, but I'll do it now. So you'll notice my warning on Plurk, this will just be titled something like Warning of Plurk. I won't ever repost this, but it will go up and stay online. And I've done that before. And I would not do this over just a porn thing on Twitter or something. But my feeling is, and I even said they never answered me. I sent them about 20 emails in 5 days. And then I realized, because I gave the name, I said, this Professor Shuto guy, and then I figured out it'd be like me contacting Twitter and saying, God, there's some Jack Dorsey posted. I think that Plurk might have top executives. I tried to research the names, and it's hidden. And so that's quite bold. If, you know, was it illegal what that man was posting? If he's like in his 70s, you know, and he puts something like a vibrator, this might be the only excitement you kiddos will be getting. I'm like, what? Look, if younger people are engaging in all that, I get it. All right. If you're 70 years old and you're in Taiwan and there's people from all over the world that join that site, you need to be. So I think they're criminal. I think Plurk is violated across the line. And so that's my promise kept. I told him I'm gonna post about you guys tonight. So I did. Our situation, I'm not gonna get into politics. I didn't watch any of the recent Democratic convention at all. I tried to catch a little regular news and I couldn't watch it. But there are real questions at this stage of what are we really doing in this, the reaction of our response to the virus and so forth. I don't make light of the virus or anything like that, but we've never responded this way. The world, as well as the U.S., has a history of viruses that have come up. Many, I could give names of different ones, that were new and that people died. And in many of those, you had actually a much higher death rate. And nothing at all like the response over this. Now, I'm not diminishing that it's a serious thing. But I said in the beginning, I'm wondering at this stage of the game whether other things are playing into this. Okay? In our region, I'll be honest, there's people I know that they were going to go get checked they want to get checked. And if it was a clinic they were doing or whatever, just in Corpus Christi. And these people, the line was long and all, they never got checked. And you know, a few weeks later, they got notified, 2 girls, I believe it was, that they tested positive. And they told a relative of mine, which is a friend of them, they said, we never even made it in to get the test. And they were notified by our local Oasis County, whoever ran that health test for COVID-19, that they both tested positive. That put a question, are they just telling everybody, even the people they didn't test? So this just brings up questions, okay? But this video is Plurk. I would want that. I would not be on that side. I wouldn't do that side. If you have younger people that are interacting in that way, in that language, but if this is a guy that's probably in charge because of the way he's automatically hooked up to everybody that joins the site, and you can't get rid of him. And then when he got off into that, so yeah, I think they're violating morality for sure. But as a possible executive of that site, I have no idea. And I even, in the email, I said, I can't even give you the exact name. I said, but if my site is unblocked, I'll get the exact name. So I had to, never answered. That's what made me think they didn't want me to be back on that. All right? The dangers of Plurk. God bless everybody, and this is just an update.